Hey guys, I just wanted to do a little follow-up to my video yesterday where I was changing the transmission fluid in my 96 Dodge 12 valve. I've got an NV4500 transmission. Yesterday I went ahead and drained all that fluid out of there yesterday. I took the cover off the side of the transmission. It's actually the PTO access cover. There's one on each side of the NV4500. So I took that cover off, I drained it, and what I do is I take that cover off, I get way in there with some shop towels, and I wipe everything down. I get as much residue, and I stick a magnet in there, make sure before I touch anything I stick a magnet in the bottom of that housing and make sure that I've got don't have any metal particulate or anything in there, chunks of gear or anything like that. Luckily mine was clean. My fluid actually came out. I didn't want to take the time to video draining the fluid, but my fluid was actually clear. It actually looked like an IPA beer coming out of there. It was, you could see through it. It was thicker than water, but it was pretty clean, which is a good thing. I probably had a ways to go on the fluid before it was bad. But anyway, I just wanted to give you guys, show you guys what I was doing. So I'll show you what this thing looks like now that it's set up overnight. I cleaned everything off really well. I really cleaned the gasket surface contact area on the cover and on the case. And one thing I do is I don't know if you can see that, but I write the fluid and I put the date and the mileage on the cover. That way later on when I come back I'll have all that information there, so I'll know what's in there. I will tell you that I changed something. So you can see here I've got AMSOIL 75W90. A lot of guys use that on these NV4500s. There's only 2 or 3, I think there's 3, maybe a 4th one now, different products that people use. I decided to go with the MT85 since I had to, I was getting a little impatient with the whole thing. I picked up the AMSOIL because one of my local shops had it. But since at the beginning of the video, if you remember, I told you I am real careful about how I put that gasket material on there. I put the gasket material on there, finger tighten those bolts, let it sit for an hour, then I torque them to spec, factory spec, and then once I get them torqued to factory spec, I let it sit for 24 hours. Well, we're at 24 hours now, so since I had that extra day, I went ahead and ordered the Redline MT85. But that AMSOIL stuff that I was using was actually sufficient. I'm sure a ton of guys use it with good results. Anyway, one thing I'm gonna do, these transmissions call for about 4 quarts, right around 4 quarts. A lot of guys drop in an extra quart through the top of the shifter on the top of the NV4500. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go ahead and put 5 quarts in. So what I've done, everything's real clean on the inside there. My transmission's a little dirty. This truck came from Abilene, Texas, so it's a little dirty, but everything's real clean on the inside, which is the important side. There's a little trick to getting the shifter out of there. If you look down in there, it's kind of hard to see, but there's a tab on both sides. There's one on that side and there's a nub tab right there, so right across from there. And then on the shift lever there's that little, we'll call it a little nook on that bracket that holds the shift lever in. So to get that out, you just take 2 screwdrivers, one on each side, and you push it down while rotating counterclockwise. So you push it down, rotate counterclockwise, and the whole thing pops right out. And of course, to get the shift lever out, you just, it just sits right down on that square shaft, so you just pull that straight off. Anyway, so what I'm doing, I've got my funnel down in there. And like I said, I'm just putting the MT85 right in the top. And I'm going to put 5 quarts down in there. I'm sure you guys got better things to do than sit and watch me fill up my transmission. Anyway, once I get all 5 of these down in there, I'm going to put the shifter back together, get everything back on, take it for a little test drive. I'll let you guys know how it shifts. The thing was shifting fine. If you got to take care of these NV4500s. A lot of these guys online complain about them, that kind of thing. I think if you are hauling in 5th gear and you're really lugging that motor up a hill, I think it can really stress out the transmission. I think that's a big problem with some of these. I don't really push my truck, and then when I shift, I shift really slow. I let off the gas, put the clutch in, take my time shifting to the next gear, so I never have any issues with my synchros or anything like that. I'd rather take care of my transmission and drive conservatively and get more life out of it. I'm never in a hurry, and these trucks aren't drag racers anyway. So anyway, I'll get back with you guys when I'm done. I just wanted to let you guys know what I was doing, and the fact that I switched over to the Redline MT85. On the beginning of the video, I said I was using that AMSOIL, which I'm sure is fine. I've been happy with AMSOIL. I use a high zinc AMSOIL oil in my my old 66 hot rod pickup with a Corvette motor and Corvette suspension on it. Or maybe I'll do a video on that someday. But anyway, I just want to let you guys know what I'm doing. I'll check back with you later. Alright guys, I just wanted to drop in real quick. Getting this shifter and this little bracket with the spring, it's a spring loaded bracket with a little bit of a hook, if you will. It's like a little hook in the bottom of it, and there's a pin on this side and a pin on this side. You have to kind of turn this thing at like 11 o'clock, and I used a pry bar with my left hand up on this corner, and I used a sharp wood chisel with my right hand. And you see how this is kind of oval shaped? It's got 2 flat sides, and on the ends it's rounded, so it's really an oval. I stuck, you got to get a bite with that chisel on that corner, on the edge of the curve and the flat spot. It's going to rotate clockwise. Taking it off was counterclockwise. So what I did was, you try to position your weight right over the shifter as much as you can, kind of have your head on the dash, if you will, and just push straight down. You need to push hard enough to get that hook below these 2 tabs on the side that are sticking out. You got to get that hook down, and then you, with your right hand, you rotate it clockwise on that corner right there, right on that corner, and you get it down in there and it'll lock in. I mean, it took a little while. I'm sweating my ass off right now, but it is what it is. I just wanted to show you guys that in case you have trouble. And then your shifter, like I said, shifter just goes. Of course, this can't be easy while I'm got the camera running. It's like a 2-hand job, but you know what? I was going to try to fake it till you make it, but you guys deserve better than that, don't you? That's it. You just get your shifter back on there, square tube, square hole, square peg, goes right down on there. You want to get this thing seated down on there, and then you want to get your rubber boot. So you've got that little rubber boot on the bottom of your shift lever. You want to get that back over this little ring down here. There's a lip. You want to get that sealed up so you don't get dust up in the cab and debris down in there. You want to seal up that transmission. So anyway, and then you put the metal base down, get that screwed in, and then you put your rubber boot down and you're back in business. All right, guys, I think I'm done here. I'm gonna get this thing buttoned back up, go take a shower. All right, y'all take care. I'll do another quick video once I get in driving this thing, let y'all know how it's shifting with the 5 quarts of MT85 in it. All right, until next time. All right, guys, as some of you may have watched some of my videos, I just finished doing an oil change, changed out my rear diff fluid, and then changed out my transmission fluid in my NV4500, which is in my 96 Cummins 12 valve Dodge. I was having a slight grind when I was shifting from second to third quickly. When I was driving and I would push in the clutch, take my time, give it a second, and then switch to third, I was fine. I wasn't having any issues. But if I got a little carried away and took off fast off the line, had a light, and went from, I always start off in second. On my shift knob, it says low, first, second, third, overdrive, reverse. But you guys know first is really second, and then second's third. So I was actually grinding into third when I would shift fast. It wasn't a big grind, it was a little bit of a, and that was it. All the other gears were good. And I've heard some other guys are having that little bit of issues. I just got the truck about a month ago, and I'm a pretty conservative driver. I want this thing to last a long time. I'm not in a hurry. I'm not into drag racing off the line. I don't pull really heavy loads. I've heard that when you're pulling with these things, you do not want to lug them in fifth gear or overdrive, as this one's labeled, especially going up a hill. You just want to suck it up, slow down a little bit, drive in fourth, and then maybe when you're on a slight downhill or a super flat, long straight, you can ease into fifth and just kind of baby it. I know a lot of guys out there that do heavy hauling, cross country, and have built transmissions, would have different ideas on that, but I'm just really conservative when it comes to that. But I will tell you, the one thing that I just found out today, and I'd read it a little bit on the forums and stuff, but I can attest to it. Ever since I got the truck about a month ago, if I shifted into third fairly quickly, anything less than painfully slow, I was getting a little bit of a grind. I put Redline MT85 into my truck today, and I can't get it to grind into third. And when I drained my fluid out, it looked like IPA beer. It looked like a thick IPA beer. You could see light through it. It was kind of a golden color. It wasn't black. It wasn't red. It wasn't, filthy at all. But when I drained the fluid out of my NV4500, I stuck about 8 shop rags up in there and really wiped all the crap out of the bottom. I stuck a magnet in there too, just to kind of feel around, make sure I didn't have any metal shavings or particulate in there. The magnet was perfectly clean. Anyway, I just wanted to give you guys a quick message. This stuff is hard to find. I actually, if you watch my other video, you'll see I got the AMSOIL, the one that there's like 3 substitutes for that. I guess it's a torque sink or sink torque. the original fluid for these 96 old 12 valves. They don't make it anymore. You can't get it, or you got to go through a GM dealer, all that crap. Nobody's got time for that. So a lot of people swear by this stuff. I just want to let you guys know that I just put it in my truck and drove around trying to get it to grind in the third. Couldn't do it. So I'll give you guys an update. I'll let y'all know how this stuff works out over time, but so far pretty impressed by that. Not to say the AMSOIL or the Valvoline stuff's no good. I just can tell you from my experience, I'm glad I ordered this stuff. I actually had bought the AMSOIL stuff and I was ready to put it in, but I waited 24 hours for my gasket, my PTO gasket around the housing on the NV4500 to dry before I put the fluid in. So I thought, well, since I've got an extra day, what the hell, I'm gonna have the MT85 brought in. And I mean, I'm glad I did. I'm not saying that if I'd put the AMSOIL in I would still have grinding, or I wouldn't, I don't know. I'm just saying this was worth the money, and you know, it was about the same price as that AMSOIL stuff, so glad I went that route. Anyway, I'll check back with you guys later.